Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm his host Joe Scott. I'm joined by Tony Tones. How are you, Tony?
Bonjour, very French. I
Buongiorno.
don't know. I
I'm
don't know
very
what it
I'm
is.
very Italian today. Buongiorno.
You're well, it's basically just anti-French, but yeah.
Okay, there it is. Well,
Again, Sunday.
it
Strange,
is.
strange
It's
Sunday.
Sunday today. Yeah.
Well, it must be because it was 2 weeks after the last Sunday. Plus minus
Yes,
one
yes,
day.
yes, yes. Well, I think it was I was busy this weekend, so we had to
Yeah.
postpone. Yeah. Have you been doing anything interesting this week that's worth talking about
Uh,
on the podcast?
I
There was something I wanted to
no.
talk
I've
about
just
last week, and I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot to talk about this. I'll talk
right.
about it in the next podcast, and I've already forgotten what it was.
Well, I was going to complain before you do that. If you do remember, I'll
No,
give you some time to.
I've forgotten. I've forgotten.
Well, that's fine, but I'm going to complain about more things I own that's now breaking. So
Is this
my
something on my
headset is now
Steam Deck?
breaking slash broken.
Oh,
But it's
okay,
not.
yeah.
It's
Okay,
not broken. Broken.
guys, 50-minute Tony stamp if you want to skip past this
Yeah. This
rant.
would be. This one was short because I haven't done anything with it. It broke last night, and I was like, wait, what? So like the padding and the mesh that's attached to it, like on the left ear cup is broke. It's like come off. And it's like it
Yeah.
looked like I don't know if it was like glued in or if it was like held in some way, but like it wasn't designed to come on enough as far as I can tell. So I don't know what to do. I might try and glue it on. I don't know. What do you think? Like
Uh, what
glue it
headset do
back
you
on
have?
or buy a new headset?
What headset do you have?
Oh, I think it's. Oh God, I don't know if I can find it. It's a Steel series, and it's like a Pro
Good
something.
one.
Yeah. So when I at the time, my understanding was that their middle range stuff wasn't very good, and
Yeah.
the way it did the wireless stuff at the time, like it was more expensive, but the sound quality was good, and yeah. The sound quality is not as good as my earbuds, my Sony earbuds, but they are still pretty good, I would say. Um, I
Mm.
think if I was gonna get a replacement, it would be I can't remember what they're called. I don't like Sony's naming schemes, but the Sony headset. What are they called?
Okay.
XM? XM? No,
Oh,
XM.
that was it, actually. I installed the beta version of the Steam Deck,
Oh,
which allows you to transfer game files from your PC to your Steam Deck. I picked up my Steam Deck and I was like, I did this on the Steam Deck. I did this on the Steam Deck. What did I do that I want to talk about? Like I installed. I have some other stuff now that I think about it. Like I installed Cryo Utilities on the Steam
okay.
Deck, which is an interesting piece of software made by a guy called Kyle, who's essentially like, well, that's his name.
Yeah.
But he's essentially like, he makes videos on optimizing the Steam Deck, and he's like a full-time Linux programmer. And he was
Oh, okay.
like, essentially, he was like, I found a bunch of ways to optimize the Steam Deck more, especially when it comes to like emulation and stuff like that. You got like a massive boost to your like 1% lows with Creo Utilities.
So just like more
Um,
stable, basically, more
I mean, for the longest
consistent.
time, as someone who's been doing a lot of, I can't believe I've got another one of these bloody bots. As somebody who's been emulating for a little bit now on the Steam Deck, for the longest SMTs, smart multi-threading was like massively increasing performance by turning it off, and that was not something you could do natively through the Steam OS. You had to install a third-party program through Decky called Power Tools,
Right.
and essentially this allowed you to disable smart multi-threading, which increased individual core performance or CPU
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
And because the Steam Deck has a weaker Zen 2 CPU, and the thing with emulation is it's very CPU intensive, so you would actually get like a massive boost, like even with like some like older systems like GPU pinning. I don't know if you know like what I'm saying when I mean that, but like clocking the GPU to a lower clock speed than its maximum clock speed, so you
Yeah.
can just get more CPU throughput on the
You're allowing the
APU.
CPU to do more. then they
I
have
mean,
to
I think
communicate with the
Wii
GPU.
emulation is like 1200 is like the sweet spot for pinning the GPU. I don't think
Mhm.
there's any point to pinning the GPU on the Switch. People have found, not that anyone would ever do that. You know, I did play a couple of
What, emulate
games
the Switch?
recently. No, you would not do that. But if I had a video of Tangerine coming up talking about them playing Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I did get some capture card footage from my Switch, so
Okay.
I'll be able to show that off. Um, I've been playing a lot of Super Mario Galaxy on the Steam Deck recently. I have 103 stars. So to put that in perspective, you need 60 stars to beat the game, and there's 120 if you want 100% the game.
Right.
So I'm pretty close to like 100%ing the game. But yeah, I installed the beta version. It's marginally faster. My internet speed is like 7 megabytes a second.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
whereas
about 60.
when
Maybe it's all
I
just under.
transfer the files from my computer to my Steam over the local network, it was about 10 megabytes per second. And the
Right.
big difference between that time was, instead of using up internet resources, it's like heavy CPU utilization on the host PC.
Oh yeah.
So doing anything CPU intensive, like streaming high quality videos or playing games, will actually slow that down. So it's kind of a trade off in terms of like, it's not just like you can just have it on in the background and you won't notice it, sort of thing.
It makes you think that must be what's happening on the other end when you download stuff from Steam servers, right? Like it's having to spike up their CPUs.
And currently at the moment, um, you can only do it from PC to PC or PC to Steam Deck. You cannot do it from the Steam Deck. And I don't know if
Shit,
that's a
okay.
limitation because the Steam Deck has a weak CPU, or they're
Yeah,
just
maybe.
gonna try and, maybe optimize the CPU utilization a bit more later down the line. I mean, I completely forgot what I was talking about in my story. I was talking about SMT because it's used by a third-party tool called Power Tools,
Yep.
and somebody was like, "Steam, why don't you offer SMT? It actually gives like real-world performance in a couple of games if you turn off SMT." And it's something we want to offer in a future like Steam OS revision. So I thought that was really cool. That like third-party community tools were getting like actually looked at by Valve and being like, "Oh, this is actually a really good idea. Let's look at like." So I think them like offering stuff like Power Tools or Cryo Utilities in SteamOS would be like a really good idea. But the thing is, it's a
Yeah.
Linux PC, and you can download this stuff from DekiLoader or GitHub, which is something I've been using a lot for the
You're
Steam
a bit of a
Deck.
Linux PC gamer, is what you're
Okay,
trying to say.
I went. So I was busy on the weekend because I went to a party, right? And
Yep.
before I got the Steam Deck, I was like, those Linux guys are always talking about, oh, I have the best distro. You can Linux is so good. You can do
You
this
didn't
and this on
understand.
Linux. I went to party. I showed people my Steam Deck, and I went talking to one of my programmer friends, and I was just like fucking talking about Linux for like an hour, and I'm like, oh god, I'm one of those people now. I've become one of those people.
And all it took was a Steam Deck. You become a
Yeah.
Linux guy. I can't believe it.
I mean, just to make it clear, I would not recommend Linux on a mainline PC right now. I think there's too many limitations when it comes to
Yeah.
Battle.net, Epic Games,
I want to
Ubisoft,
say we're on.
EA.
Yeah. I think if you want to be an early adopter, like you have to think about these things, you have to deal
If you
with it.
want a
If you
closed
want to
system
tinker,
that just works, stick
yeah.
to Windows for now.
Yeah. But I do feel like we are approaching a point where we might be able to recommend it, especially like how popular the Steam Deck
Oh, I
is.
had
Like
it.
these launchers might actually
I had
do
it. I had it.
something.
I had it next to a Switch OLED actually on the weekend. I was like, holy shit, this thing is huge compared to like the Switch. Switch
Yeah.
is so much smaller than this thing. And I gotta say, the Switch OLED screen is like noticeably like better. Like
Yeah.
I think what was I put on it? I put like rabbits on it, and just the colors were way more vibrant and popping. I would love to see an OLED screen. I think Valve put out a statement recently, basically saying, "Yeah, we really wanted to put an OLED screen in it, but basically, costs just don't allow you to like mass market a first time product with like OLED screens."
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Like, where they go for that. Because I think an OLED VRR display would be insane for like a new Steam Deck with more battery.
Well, that Steam Deck 2, here we go.
So I was watching the Digital Foundry put out a video on the Iron Neo, basically, and it has the new like 7,000 APUs in it, and they're essentially saying like you could clock the thermals way higher, so you're able to like, there's a couple of games that are too big for Deck, like Returnal just is unplayable on Steam Deck. Gotham Knights was like unplayable on Steam Deck because it's just too demanding to run the systems, where you could force the clock speeds way higher and you're actually getting like much better performance in those games. But like clocked at the same watts as the Steam Deck was getting identical or better performance with like the optimization Steam's done with like SteamOS running on like the Linux kernel. It's like insane. Like, and like cost.
Well, they knew what hardware they were getting.
And like cost to performance, the Steam Deck is still just fucking phenomenal. And then because like these Iron Neo devices that cost like £1,000 to even
computer costs.
And then as well, having them clocked way higher, the battery just depletes in like an hour or something. So you're not even, it's got like worse battery life than the Steam Deck. So it's just like, it's just really hard to compete with the Steam Deck right now in terms of handheld performance. It's kind of nuts.
If there was a Steam Deck 2, would it be on the 7,000 APUs?
No, I don't think there's enough of a performance bump for them to make it. I think they would wait later.
9,000. Right.
I think whatever's coming next from AMD, I think we want to wait because I think with RDNA 2, we saw like the XTX, and it feels like with the XTX they've gone, okay, we've put this smaller die. It feels like their first generation of a new way of designing graphics cards. And
it feels like the start of like Ryzen.
Yeah. And I feel like once they increase their graphics like a lot more,
put more effort into like AI and like tensor cores or tensor core equivalents.
Well, apparently I've been playing around with the NVIDIA video resolution stuff recently. I was talking about that briefly, how like 720p is like the sweet spot right now according to Gamers Nexus for upscaling stuff. And apparently Intel and AMD are both working on technology for this as well, for video upscaling. So it looks like this is like a popular technology right now.
Do you think there'll become a point where it's like, because I feel like in a way like we kind of need in a way I feel like video, like would people be uploading video to like try and optimize it so people using the technology can see it better? Like I feel like are we waiting for that sort of like chicken and egg situation to catch up with each other?
To be honest with you, I don't know. It's just,
we don't know how good it is.
It's just pure speculation at this point. I mean, hopefully it's like DLSS 1 where it comes out and it kind of sucks, and then NVIDIA like really works on it and becomes really good. I mean, it's not going to be similar to DLSS because DLSS has like temporal data and it has all the information, whereas the super video resolution is just taking the data from the next frame and be like, okay, let's try and upscale this, remove. Essentially, what I would say is it's like sharpening. It's just making it look, adding like anti-aliasing to like blockiness, trying to remove, that sort of stuff. Which usually, I think the best case scenario for NVIDIA video scaling is actually like anime, because it works really well on sharp lines or slow moving images. So
didn't NVIDIA show on like some sort of anime or something? I've seen someone use anime to upscale and like it made the hair. I can't believe that was.
I don't know, to be honest with you. But
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I found it really funny. I was listening to the Digital Foundry podcast, and Richard Letterbetter did exactly what I did. He was like, "Oh, I went on Netflix and I was trying to AI upscale Deep Space Nine," and I was like, "That's exactly the first thing I did when I was playing around with NVIDIA."
That's a base
video
resolution, I think.
But the problem is the baseline footage for DS9 is so low resolution because it's all shot on tape. Whereas like TNG and TOS got remastered because they're all shot on film, so they can just take the original film print and remaster them. Like they did remaster some of DS9 for that like documentary thing, and it looks like pretty. I'm going to go have a quick Star Trek Tangerine, and it looks pretty good.
Well, this is like a couple of episodes, wasn't it?
Yeah, just like a couple of shots, basically.
Yeah, not even episodes, right?
So that like the technology I would love. There.
I would love to like genuinely like TNG like what you can watch on Netflix at the moment is like really good. And I wish
TOS looks really good on Netflix. Like it's such a shame. Like it's such a shame. I think DS9 is one of the biggest tragedies. Voyager is like not in a great state either, but it's not.
But it's not as bad because it's like later with like better digital technology.
Enterprise.
Like it's still there on film.
Enterprise looks fine. It's like DS9 is just in an awful fucking state.
Especially season 1. Season 1 DS9 is by far the worst looking Star Trek you can watch right now.
But put a long story short, I used the downloading files from the computer. It's pretty useful. I think it's going to be really, really useful in the future, especially with people who have multiple gaming PCs in the same house because it works computer to computer. So somebody downloads an update to a game on Steam, you'll automatically just grab it from their computer. I mean, it's going to be a bit more awkward if you're like, oh, don't use your computer for a bit, it's going to destroy your CPU. I wonder how much actual overhead of the CPU it has.
Yeah, but could you not deprioritize it and just slow down the speed?
Yeah, I think it just. I think it will just. I think it will just degrade performance.
Yeah. Okay.
And it might even like default to just download from the internet if it's faster, than getting the local files. I don't know. I had the beta. That smart, I tried it. I used it. I was like, that's pretty decent. I mean, I went from 7 megabits to like 10 megabits. It wasn't like great. It wasn't like, oh, I'm getting like 100 megabytes a second from my local Wi-Fi access now. It wasn't like an insane difference. But I suppose if you have very bad internet, or maybe if you have a different Wi-Fi setup, I don't know. Maybe it'll be improved in the future.
I think it's something for a lot of people, but maybe not like the vast majority of people. I just feel that there is.
But I had an issue with DecuLoader, so I had to downgrade to the stable channel. So I'm no longer using it. So I'm waiting for them to release it on the stable channel. Honestly, I prefer being on the stable channel for my Steam Deck because I want it to just work. Because on my PC, I'm on the beta version of Steam, and if something goes weird with Steam, I can just easily, switch it back. But if I'm in the middle of, being outside with my Steam Deck, and it's awkward to. I don't have access to the internet. I can't really downgrade it back to the stable.
You didn't bring your mobile dongle with you.
I'm at a party and I'm like, oh, I just want to dock this and
have
a game
garden party.
And it just starts bugging out. I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like, it's not something you can just fix on the spot, sort of thing.
No.
But
would you say that the more console something is, the more you want it to be just be stable over experimental?
Well, someone was asking me because they were like, they were showing me the Switch, and they're like, what's the difference between the Switch and the Steam Deck? Like, why did you get like a Steam Deck instead of like a Switch? Like,
right.
And I was like, well, I think the best way to describe it is the Switch is an Android phone, and no. The Steam Deck is an Android phone, and the Switch is an iPhone. It's probably one of the best ways to describe. Like, it's like
you can do more with the Android, but it's not.
You can do a lot more, but it's not like super closed, walled garden, super simplistic experience that won't have many bugs, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's a PC. You can do anything on it, but what was I saying? I was like, you can do anything of it, but it'll just only work half the time. I mean, it has infinite possibilities that have a 50-50 chance to work,
I would take that over a closed garden personally, but I know
I'll take that over a £60 game that never goes on sale.
And a limited selection of them,
I've had the Steam Deck for I think 2 months now, and I still fucking love it. I think it's phenomenal. I'm still playing on it like every other day, so I think it's like an awesome device. I'm excited to see my end of year Steam recap and see what games I'm. The problem is it doesn't track games that you don't play through Steam. So I have spent many hours emulating Super Mario Galaxy, and none of that is being tracked. So and I think that's what I played the most on it.
That's probably for the best, to be honest, that it's not being tracked.
Oh, Nintendo lawyers would like access to your location.
Oh yeah, yeah. But Steam just been following, so it's just been tracking people pirating games. The true DRM, the Steam Deck.
Let's move on to talking about news. So let's go to Alien Swarm 2. Oh, sorry, I mean Deep Rock Alien Swarm. We have Dark Swarm. This is we announced that Ghost Ship Publishing was looking to publish more games than just Deep Rock Galactic, and it seems like, yeah, it looks like Alien Swarm. Is there much demand? Did people play Alien Swarm and go, I want more of this? I always thought like of Valve's like failures, like Alien Swarm and Artifact, I feel like were some of the biggest ones.
Yeah, but they didn't put that much effort. Well, they didn't put that effort, but I feel like it wasn't like. I feel like in terms of scope of like making the game, like Alien Swarm wasn't as big as Artifact.
I don't know. I don't know. I went back and I played Alien Swarm. I think it was last year, and I was like, I remember that, not liking this game that much. Let's try it again, and yeah, I still just didn't really like the game. I mean,
yeah,
I tried it with mods. Like I preferred playing the game in first person with a first person mod, but then I was like, well, it's not really Alien Swarm anymore at this point. It's more like Left 4 Dead with aliens.
I don't know. I have personally, I kind of would you? I guess it's like would you describe it as like a twin stick shooter, even though it's on PC?
Top down shooter, very.
You move the direction with your mouse. You move those guys. It's still twin.
It's not like twin stick. I think twin stick is almost fast paced. Alien Swarm's very slow. It's about like it's more strategy.
I don't think it. I don't know. I personally wouldn't have the genre based on how fast it is, but I get what you're saying. But basically, the two movements into like independent.
A control scheme as a genre is a bit, strange. I agree with
you. I guess that's why we have multiple tanks. I guess that helps a lot.
Female protagonist, my favorite tag, my favorite genre of game.
It's not what Steam doesn't do genres. It just tanks.
That was just one I always found funny. It was like, I would like to play a game with a female protagonist. Why?
I guess, but I don't know. I guess that's the thing, though. Like, this is a complete tangerine on fucking tags at this point. But I get some tags like, oh yeah, clearly you want to search for this tag. Others is like, oh, I'm just curious to know whether this game has this tag or not. It's just kind of interesting. Like, I don't think. Like on this one, for example, there's Dark. I don't think I would search for Dark, but it's interesting that it's on there.
Well, the game's sort of called Dark Swarm.
Yeah, so that's true. They're just guessing.
It's sort of a spiritual successor to Alien Swarm. So,
is that a tag that you can add?
Does Darker and Darker have the tag Dark on it?
I hope so. But like,
does Dark Souls have the Dark tag?
Hopefully. Difficult is one like I wouldn't search
for. Oh, Darker and Darker. Darker and Darker's got the Dark tag.
Yeah.
It's Dark Souls.
A better one. Atmospheric. I would never search a game by Atmospheric, but like having it on there as a listing, like just to describe it in like a tag is useful. But I would never search for it by that tag.
Dark Souls has got Dark Fantasy and Atmospheric, but not the Dark, from what I can see.
Are you just looking for the Dark tags now?
I'm just looking. No, I just typed Dark in.
I just typed Dark.
I just looked for any game with Warhammer Darktide. Let's have a quick look at this.
I'm gonna search by the tag Dark.
No, it's not a popular one.
It's not.
Darktide's not got Dark as a popular tag. My favourite genre of games, Dark. No.
Dark.
Is there any
Yeah,
good,
I think
is there any
I just
good
find it
dark
interesting.
games?
I'm having trouble loading Dark for some reason. Steam changed how they load.
Project Playtime, Shadow Warrior 3,
Oh, Grimdark.
Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, a
Oh, Dark
Playtime,
Chess.
Endling, Bone Labs.
Yep.
Ignore. I guess dark means like atmospheric horror-y a lot of the time. It seems like.
I think. I mean, just the concept is like dark and.
Oh, Gotham Knights is dark because you've got the Dark Knight.
It's got the dark. Yeah, true.
Anyway, should we move on?
Probably should. Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass has come out. There's more DLC tracks. It looks pretty good.
Did you only put this on for the quote?
Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay.
No, I have actually been playing some of the Mario Kart DLCs.
Right.
So I've tried some of them. I've been and I literally went on it and I was like, oh, which track should I play? And I clicked on all of the Mario Kart DS ones because I fucking love Mario Kart DS.
Yeah, they were good.
I think Mario Kart DS is my favorite Mario Kart game, so it's always cool to see more of those. I mean, the Wii has some great tracks as well, but it seems like this pack especially had a lot of Mario Kart Tour, the mobile games packs, which I know people aren't like big fans. DS Mario Circuit, here we go. Absolutely lovely to see. What did I play? I think it's like Wario Pinball. Oh, Yoshi's Island is a new one. I think it's like a brand new track. It's not taken from any other game, sort of thing. So I'm interested to try that one.
I do find, I will say, I know there's some, like, Nintendo has some messes in terms of DLC, but I do kind of appreciate how they do it, where they have like mid or like quarterly
the thing
DLCs
I think
instead of like tiny
crazy
ones.
is that they have the is this included as part of the Nintendo Switch Online? The expansion pack?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, it's included as part of the because my sister got like a family expansion pack thing.
Okay.
So it's now connected to my parents' Switch. So I was like, oh, so now I have access to the Mario Kart 8 tracks now, I guess. So I think
That's
she just
weird.
I think what she did and what a lot of people do, she was like, she got it to play the Animal Crossing, and then she got the booster pack to play the Animal Crossing DLC sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I still appreciate that, like Nintendo, like don't normally drop like a tiny DLC. Like it tends to be like, oh, here's like a quite a bit of stuff as like a DLC. And it's like I feel like that they're still kind of holding on to like the mid 2000s to mid 2010 sort of business model.
Well, usually if Nintendo wants to make more content for a game, they will just make a new game sort of thing. They don't generally make a lot of DLC, which is something I noticed with Nintendo.
You say that, but I also see the DLC. I would agree, primarily.
Unless they re-release the same game, but under a slightly different name, like Pokemon Violet? Is that the one? Scarlet and Violet, which are exactly the same game, but they have slightly different names.
Yeah. Is that Nintendo's fault or Niantic?
Game Freak.
Game Freak, that's
Niantic is the mobile developer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. I always forget who owns like Nintendo and Game Freak both own Pokemon. Anyway, I thought it was really funny because I read a comment saying, I really want one of these DLC packs to just be, oops, all Rainbow Road edition. I thought that was fucking hilarious. If one of these packs was like literally every single Rainbow Road compiled into one Mario game, I think that would be hilarious.
Can I just say, I don't hate Rainbow Road.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very hard track.
Yeah.
You get knocked off it a lot of the time.
Yeah. I feel like it's a nice challenge in my opinion though. Like I didn't feel frustrated by it. It's this is an interesting challenge to try and do. I guess if you're playing with dickhead friends, then yeah, it's pretty bad.
What'd you just call me?
Nothing.
Okay. Moving on, we got some big Tony news. Paradox had like a big conference where they announced a bunch of games. One of the huge announcements was City Skylines 2, and we know absolutely nothing about it.
We know. Well, we know two things.
We know, okay, so based on a PC Gamer article, we know that it will have hailstorms, rat infestations, and 150 map tiles in a single city. So, from what I understand,
Do you want to know how they know that?
I was just gonna. From what I understand, there's 8 tiles by default in City Skylines 1.
It's 9. It's 9.
9.
So normally it's 3x3.
Yeah.
So technically it's 3x3.
Yep.
In the asset editor, you can like do 5x5, but technically there's 9x9.
Okay.
It's in 1. This is the first game. City Skylines 1.
That goes up to what, 81 tiles? Or
Yeah. So normally it's only playable to 9. You can get mods easily to get to 25, and and go all the way up to 81. But it's a bit weird because then that you've lost all the fog. So you see that right at the edge of the map. Most people don't go above somewhere between 25 and 81. Most people go between.
But we now know it's going to be up to 150. How do we know this, Tony?
If you go down to the bottom of the article,
I'm on the video.
There's been Xbox achievements, and they're all there. There's like a huge list of Xbox achievements. I say huge. There's 40 achievements. I'm going to. I don't know what these are called. Like gamer. This says G. Is that a gamer score?
Gamer score.
What
yeah.
Okay, it goes up to 1,000 gamer score, and some of them, and one of them is like the 50 ones are the big ones, right?
Yeah.
And one of them, is unlockable 150 tiles, I believe it says.
If you want to farm gamer score, there was like an Avatar game on the Xbox 360 that was just known for giving insane amounts of gamer score for doing nothing. Like gamer score enjoyers would seek out that game just to increase their gamer score, which is something I find very interesting. Which is very different to the way Steam Achievements works, because with Steam Achievements, there's no overall score, so it doesn't really matter, how many achievements you have. Whereas on Xbox, it was very much like how many achievements you've done and what the achievements were worth based on their score.
Yeah. I was going to just go through a couple of the achievements that I saw that I was interested in by. I think some of them the article also was interested by. One of them is like size of golf balls, experience a hailstorm. Right next to it is experience a tornado, experience a forest fire. Like it's like minor natural disasters. It's kind of interesting, I suppose.
Sim City vibe.
Yeah, but City Skylines has this as well, so it's more of the same. But then we get to like everything the light touches is the unlock 150 map tiles in a single city.
Yeah.
What I found interesting, I can find it again. Hold on. Where the hell was it? Oh, 4 seasons. Okay, it depends how you interpret this. 4 seasons might be interesting, but they might just implement it in the same way they did in like they called it the DLC, but like the snow DLC.
Snowy winter.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that means there's like a better climate system and it just wants you to then like experience a snowy weather system like when it goes into winter, but they might have just done it where it's like a winter map.
What about spider webbing?
So that's the next one that's really interesting.
Transport lines.
Yeah, so have 50 transport channels. Like, okay, fine. It's a 50G achievement, so it's quite high, and that is quite difficult to get in City Skylines 1. Then I read these can be passenger or cargo lines. Cargo lines are not a thing in City Skylines 1. You only have passenger lines. Like cargo,
huge drama.
You place a cargo terminal, and they just do it themselves. There's no cargo lines. You don't manage that yourself. So it's kind of interesting. So I think was that everything? I feel like that was everything else is like very similar. Like there's parks, there's I guess this is a rats one, I suppose. There's someone says like, is that to do with sanitary stuff? That's kind of interesting, but I'm gonna put it towards another just like natural disaster, like a minor one. So we'll see. There's a lot of it's very similar, but if there's I'm hoping there are cargo lines that you have to manage yourself, because that would be really good.
Huge.
I think that's everything, though. I don't think I can say. I think I mean, you can watch the trailer. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is, I saw someone find in the trailer at the right of the side as a what Americans would call a gas station. Someone
Gas
found that
station?
asset in the Unreal asset store.
Guys, Inbetween podcast exclusive, City Skylines will be an Unreal Engine. It's a huge drop. We've got exclusive.
I don't know if it's exclusive to go from someone else, but yes.
We exclusive from someone else that the gas station is a Unreal Engine asset, and it will be in a Unreal Engine. You know what? I'm going to speculate. Possibly Unreal Engine 5. I'm just going to put that out there.
Huge. Yeah. It's going to have the Lumen engine.
It's going to have Lumen and Nanite throughout the entire city.
Yeah. It has to get 150 tiles.
You will be able to see your citizens' dog's cat cam shadow on the wall.
More importantly, you'll be able to see in the reflection of the river yourself. It's going to be revolutionary.
I'm going to put it out there now. City Skylines 2 will be the first ray trace city builder. That's just my speculation. I mean, is it true? Who knows? Speculation.
Hang on, has there definitely not been a ray tracing city builder already?
No, why would there? That sounds like a nightmare to run.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying like even a shit one though.
To my knowledge, City Skylines is not out yet, so
they have time.
So. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I got more Paradox news, I suppose.
Yeah, there was a big Paradise thing, and one of the things I thought was interesting was they revealed a game called Life by You, which is a competitor to The Sims from a former EA boss. So it seems like we're gonna get another Sims. You know, like Souls-like games. We've got a Sims-like game.
The former Sims boss Rod Humble. Oh, okay.
Do you know him?
I vaguely recognize that name. It's not the most.
We're going to get more information about the game in 5 days at an event. So we'll actually know
I can't believe it hasn't been leaked already. That seems that generally what happens with Paradox, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the screenshot looks interesting.
Let's watch the trailer. There's people that say, to my knowledge, there's not many Sims-like games at all.
No, not in the casual life sim sort of way at all.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, but The Sims is literally releasing another DLC tomorrow, the teenager expansion, I think it's called. Yep. And people are super excited for that. People just want to play more Sim shit.
And I think more competitors is needed to keep, even if you like The Sims and you're not going to deviate. I think having this will keep them in line much better. Well,
but
theoretically,
people were saying Paradox has taken over SimCity with City Skylines, and they're now trying to overtake the Sims formula with this game as well. So hopefully it goes well for them. I mean, I always like playing The Sims, so maybe I'll check this out when it comes out.
I like The Sims a lot. I even bought The Sims 4 before it went free to. I mean,
again, this Paradox announcement thing was mostly just here's a bunch of games we're going to make at some point,
and DLCs.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of DLCs were announced.
I mean, that's always been Paradox's shtick, is they make a lot of DLCs for their games.
They build game engines and games to be platforms for DLC. I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with.
Isn't there a Stellaris DLC coming out tomorrow or something? Stellaris First Contact?
It's either already out or it's going to come out, because I've seen some review already. But they might have got a demo or
it came out yesterday. Stellaris First Contact.
Yeah.
Do you want? I'm guessing you don't want to talk about this yet.
No, I've not listened to too much. I have other issues with Stellaris, and I need to be able to put both of them together, and I've not done that. So,
guys, don't worry. More Stellaris news is coming soon. TM.
Yeah. I haven't even bought Toxoids yet, so
he's behind. This guy calls himself. This guy calls himself Stellaris fan. He's even got Toxoids.
I know. And to think all the other DLCs before that I bought on release.
Tony, based on the fact it's named after Star Trek: The Next Generation film, I mean, it's gonna be a banger, right?
I think the concepts are cool. One thing I will say this. This is kind of a spoiler for a future podcast, maybe.
Right.
I don't know if it's added to the DLC, but they were talking about it. Stealth and cloak technology.
Romulans out to the game? Hold up.
Yeah, they're like attaching to like the espionage systems. So like, I don't know if that's actually in there, but I haven't actually looked at it properly. So
All right.
kind of cool.
Joe's weird VR game. We've got Aces of Thunder. This is coming to PSVR and I believe also PC VR as well. It is a VR flight game from the developers of War
Is this
Thunder.
just an VR Ace Combat game?
It's just like a realistic plane. I think there's a game called Bitrol VR or something like that. It's like a very popular.
So it's not Ace Combat.
No, it's not Ace Combat. VTOL VR is like a really popular like flight sim one.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny that it was the War Thunder guys. You know, the guys who always like. I think it's War Thunder is always leaking like military documents.
Yes, it is.
So, guys,
on their forums.
Make sure to check out the forums of Aces of Thunder for leaks of plane schematics.
If you want the new FA5 schematic, just wait on the forum. You just wait.
Let's move on to delays, cancellations, and announcements. Delays. Unfortunately, I played the demo of System Shock, and I was like, it seems so ready. Like, it's actually going to come out in March. But no, it's been delayed by 2 months. It's now coming out on the 30th of May, which is really, really sad to see.
It needs more polish.
Publisher PlayOn said, we had hoped to bring the game to market by the end of March, but that turned out to be just beyond our reach. We are, after all, merely human, unlike Shodan. The remake of the 1994 original updates the game with new visuals. But yeah, it seems like they just needed a bit more time. I mean, I played the demo. I thought it was fantastic. It seemed very polished, so this was a little bit of a surprise to me. But if they need a couple more months to get it 100% ready, then a couple of months is what they need. I mean, we've been waiting for this System Shock remake for a long time, so we can wait a little bit longer. We've got a rumor actually on delays. Apparently, Warner Bros. And Rocksteady apparently have delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League once again from May to later this year, according to a person familiar. A showcase of the game during a PlayStation stream last month was poorly received by fans. This is what we were talking about, I think last week or the week before, last couple of podcasts ago, I mean.
Well, we discovered it was a live service thing, right?
Where, like, it's a live service, battle pass, like, bullet spongy, like, looter shooter Destiny-esque, and I was like, oh, I've lost all interest in this game. So, I think, you know, a delay could be a good idea, but honestly, at this point, if the game is based around being a live service, I don't know how delaying it until the end of this year is going to fundamentally change.
I guess it depends how they implement the campaign, maybe, but yeah, I can't see much of a change. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Schreier, who leaked, he said this delay also moves Suicide Squad out of a crowded release window that is currently includes the new Zelda game. Diablo is releasing in, I think, June or July, which is something that I'm quite interested in. Because, I mean, Diablo Immortal was a hit, so, you know... I'm excited for the next Diablo. I think Diablo 4 looks pretty good. The Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 16, I think Intergrade Part 2 is coming out this year as well. I think it's called Rebirth. FF7 Rebirth, I think, is coming out this year as well.
There's a lot of games coming out this year, then, okay. Well, a lot of big games, I should say.
So I'm now typing in to Google and saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth may be delayed due to internal issues. I don't know how credible this source is, but that's just popped up. But I know Final Fantasy 16 is supposed to launch this year, 100%. So we will see. But Jason Schreier says as well, for what it's worth, a delay like this is mainly for polish, not to overhaul the core gameplay that caused the backlash. Suicide Squad started off as a game as a service, will remain one short of a complete reboot, which would require a much longer delay. So as I said, it's not going to stop being a live service game, so I don't know if delaying it will make me any more interested in it. But
no, but they might be able to. Again, depending on how they've implemented the campaign, they might be finagling it to make it better. Maybe they don't care and they're just playing it for other reasons.
Yeah.
There's not a Avengers issue.
Let's
Who
move
knows?
on. Let's move on to releases. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War 2020, and Warzone 2020. Sorry, what did I say? Warzone? Vanguard, the 2021 Call of Duty game, have all come to Steam. So they're no longer exclusive to the Battle.net launcher. You can now get them on Steam as well, and they've come with a sale discount as well as their release. So
Steam Deck verified?
I mean, I'll quickly check. I very much doubt.
I don't think it can be, can it? Because of multiplayer, right?
There's no Steam. I can check ProtonDB.
Okay. But sure they have anti-cheat though. Is what I'm asking.
Oh, probably. Yeah, I would assume so. And it's just.
I was thinking. I know we were talking about.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is balked.
Yeah. We're talking about Tarkov thing and like and the anti-cheat stuff. Is like one thing is like I don't think I expressed very well last time is that why I think there needs to be other solutions to this is like so we can run it on stuff like Linux.
I'm so
and I do think there's other ways to just to spy on like what the user is doing with their kernel level stuff. But
I know like Destiny 2 was like essentially saying they won't allow anyone to play this on Steam Deck or Linux even if they make it compatible with the anti-cheat. They will. And it seemed like they were just doing this because they didn't want Linux players to play because they were scared that it would open them up to more vulnerabilities, which they couldn't be bothered to, Linux-specific anti-cheat solutions for.
My understanding is, I'm understanding that from their sort of side, they have like already lots of back-end issues, let's say, and like I think they're like backlogged already, so I can kind of respect that. But disappointing, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I just want to point out I'm so fucking confused what half of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare games are at this point. Because there's the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
I think named 3 different games, right?
There's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is 2020. Then there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is the original, Call of Duty 4. And then there's Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, which is the Call of Duty 4 remaster that came out in 2017.
There's also Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
There's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 as well.
Yeah. Very confusing. Someone called it, like, why can't we just call it Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2022? There'd be less twos in it.
Remastered on Steam yet? I think it might. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered 2017 is on Steam, yeah.
Oh, 2017, yeah.
Because it was exclusive to.
But isn't that what you put here? The Modern Warfare 2019 is that you got listed here?
What? No, that's a different game.
Oh, you're talking about the other different game.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered came out in 2017.
Oh, the 2017 one. Oh, okay, right.
Anyway, let's move on. Releases. Fallen Dynasty came out on the 3rd of March with some very mixed reviews. Apparently, the PC port is not very good. I mean, I heard, like, essentially it was not developed to be played with a mouse and keyboard. Like, essentially, there was very bad mouse tracking issues. I think most people recommended to play it with a controller. I mean, most people play these games with a controller, but again, you probably shouldn't release a game on PC if you don't have mouse and keyboard support.
Wasn't there like huge performance issues as well?
I heard there were some performance issues as well. I don't know the full extent. Apparently, it didn't run very well.
Yeah, but I've heard people say that the premise seems to be like, if it ran better, it was well implemented.
I know people really love that other game, like Koei Tecmo. They did like the they did that great game Wild Hearts that everybody loves.
Is this Neo? How do you
Neo 2
Right.
was the one that I think
Yeah.
that they released that people really liked, which is like
Yeah.
another like Souls-like game along with this
Yeah,
one.
I've heard good things about Neo. I mean,
Did you?
I like the look of this more than Neo, but
Hmm.
unfortunate if it's. I mean, it's now mixed. I feel last time I looked at this, it was like very negative,
Very negative, yeah, I think so
and
too.
now it's mixed. So I guess they're slowly fixing some
I
of
mean,
the
the
issues.
game has a demo, so potentially something could
Yeah,
change.
they did have a demo last time I looked, for sure.
I mean, it's maybe they. I think they do like the Dynasty Warrior games, and a lot of people are saying it's not like a Neo Souls Sekiro game. It's more like a Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that because
But I
we need
think,
someone else to actually make a Dynasty Warriors game that's not shit.
I mean, I think isn't Dynasty Warriors more like a hack and slash kind of game where it's just like a billion guys on the screen? It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
I know I played Dynasty Warriors, so I'm not 100% sure on
But
that.
it's not. I don't like this thing of like, oh, if it's not like Dark Souls, it's just brain dead if there's lots of enemies. It's like, no, it depends how they balance the game.
I don't know. Maybe I'll check out Wulong later, see if they've fixed up some of these issues and people like
Well,
the
they've
game.
got a demo.
I like hack and slashy games. Like I'm a
Yeah,
huge original. Like when I say I'm a fan of God of War, I mean like God of War 1 and 2 and
yeah.
3. I love those games. I love Dante's Inferno.
I'm not
Um,
saying Oolong is like this, but in terms of like Dynasty Warrior, like it's a lot more crazy. It's like you're like a badass general, and you can just like you can kill like a lot of enemies in like one swoop.
hmm.
But there's also a lot of enemies to kill. So
I like Star Wars: The Force Unleashed games that people seem to either love or hate. I actually quite
I
like those
thought
Force Unleashed like hack and slashy games.
I like the first one. I think the second
Hmm.
one's awful.
I want to go back and replay them at some point and see like how I feel about them after all this time.
Oh, you're gonna love the quick time event.
Oh yeah, big time. Stop. You remember? Is it the first or the second one where Starkiller has to stop the Star Destroyer from coming down? He has to use the Force to keep it up, and it's like a big like spam quick time event sort of thing.
I can't remember because I can't remember if it was when it's overpowered in the second one or it's overpowered when it's in the first one.
I was playing Azura's Wrath recently, which is kind of like a quick time event from the PS3, Xbox 360, but it's also just quick time event animated the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of anime stuff, Dead Cells returned to Castlevania. Konami coming back with a surprise revisit to Castlevania. I mean, interesting
Is
to
it
see Konami doing stuff again with other
is Konami
developers.
doing stuff or are they just giving it to someone else to make stuff for them?
I mean, I don't know how much Konami was involved in this,
That's
but the fact that Konami gave their IP to
yeah,
Dead Cells is kind of a big
it's
deal.
better than nothing. Yeah, you're right.
It
It's
seems
cool they
very
actually allowed it.
positive
Yeah.
from what I've seen. And from what I've actually heard briefly about this, it seems like people are saying it's sort of, if you're going into this going, well, I've never played Dead Cells, but I'll play another Castlevania game. It's more like, it's more Dead Cells with a Castlevania skin rather than another
Yeah.
Castlevania game sort of thing.
Dead Cells with a feel of Castlevania,
Yeah.
not Castlevania's in Dead Cells. I can appreciate that. I like Dead Cells. We shared it, but
Yeah. That's
that's
pretty
why I've
cool.
not done very much with it.
I have Dead Cells as well, and I think I loaded it up once and have never actually sat down and play it. But this is the sort of game where I could see myself playing it a lot on the Steam Deck, so maybe I'll install over there. I don't know. I only like to play one game on my deck at a time. At the moment, I'm still playing. Well, technically, I sat down and completed the entirety of Octodad twice on the Steam Deck. Once by myself, and then once with with three other people controlling the other parts of Octodad for my
Right.
when we were playing it on my birthday, which is a mode I just didn't know existed until my friend pointed it out that you can have 4 controllers, each controlling one limb of Octodad.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I had like proper multiplayer like that at all. I thought it was like, yeah, I don't know. That's just crazy to me. It
Next
looked
up,
great for. Oh, I said
I
very help,
mean,
but
Dead Cells
it looked
Return
like
to
great fun.
Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, the second biggest launch of the Mark 6, because as I randomly was looking at releases and I was like, there's not many releases this past couple of weeks. Vet VR Veterinary Simulator. Here we go, guys. You can finally be a vet in VR. This should have been my weird VR game of the week, but
Well, it has a demo. What the hell?
has a looks like ass.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's no. I don't know. Is this like a thing people wanted? They were like, "Damn, I wish I could be a vet in VR." I guess it's kind of hitting like that target audience of people who are just like, "I want to simulate working." I have a friend like this who's like, "I want to play like a power wash or gas station simulator or."
Is it?
There's a new one. There's a new one coming out called like Hotel Renovator, and like just
this might be morbid, but is this kind of like car mechanic simulator, but with your pet?
I guess, yeah. What do you mean it's morbid?
Well, is there working a car, fixing a car, and like
The only game they've put out so far, it's a brand new game. Let's see what people say about it. Has anyone? No one has played this game, guys. If you have played Vet VR Veterinary Simulator, please write into the show and let us know about your experience.
This is the only game that they have so far? They have a demo.
I'm reading the community hub for demo feedback. They said, I love the dogs in the demo. Will there be cats? It's super fun to play fetch with a shepherd and treat the ones. I'd love some cats to be added. Maybe some exotic or farm animals too. Chickens? Question marks. Hello, this is a great idea and something we hope to add summer 2023. Are there any types of cats people would like to see? Guys, confirmed here. Vet VR cat update coming this summer. Here we go. Huge news.
I guess it's not too expensive, to be fair.
How much was it? I clicked off it.
It's like it's just under £17. Like it's not cheap, but it's not like it's not even like 30. So
that looks interesting. Maybe I'll download the demo and give it a go. I mean, sometimes like with VR games, they can be kind of janky, but also like fun. Phasmophobia, for example, is a very janky VR game that is surprisingly very fun.
Yeah, I do feel like it has a demo, I do kind of feel sorry for games that, or I guess developers of games that don't have like anyone reviewing it. So
we've just reviewed it.
If they got a demo, try it.
You know what? I'm reviewing it live. 10 out of 10. There it is.
Okay.
Mile High Taxi. It's Fifth Element meets Crazy Taxi. That is the official description of this game.
God. What?
It looks absolutely bonkers, and it looks like something I would really like to play. It looks really fun.
Yeah.
I actually did see a video talking about it, and they were saying it's a bit hard to control the taxi and like the 6 degrees of freedom. You know what I'm talking about, like up and down and forwards and backwards.
You've got full like yaw and pitch. And...
Yeah.
But cool 6.
Yeah, people are saying it's hard to drive around and pick up passengers and stop and stuff like that. Hopefully they do an update to this and we can see like, some improvements made. But
to be clear, that's not intentional. It's just annoying, right?
What?
That it's hard to pick up people and it's hard to fly.
Yeah. I don't think it's like a Gang Beast game where it's like jelly physics. It's hard to do anything.
No, I'm thinking of Crazy Taxi.
Mm.
Well, I guess it wasn't hard to, I suppose.
Seems like some people are like, from the reviews, it seems like people are not spending a lot of time on it, even when it's positive. People are spending like a couple of hours. It could be something to drop in and out of, even if it is a bit janky. I mean, it's £12 on sale at the moment. Could be something that I pick up on a deeper sale and just try it out later. So keep an eye on Mile High, see if it gets updated, see if it has a price drop. We'll have a check on that one.
I quite like the there's a positive one. Is just like, oh, it has a lot of potential. Keep working on it. Okay. I guess it's like a small dev team, if not one.
And let's move on to quick news, Tony. Resident Evil 4 Chainsaw demo is now available, Tony, and we're going to play this.
Yeah.
I think ever since they started remastering Resident Evil games, we have played every single demo. We have played 2, 3, 7, and 8. So we've played 4 so far. So playing the Resident Evil 4 one will be our 5th Resident Evil demo spotlight. So hopefully it's a banger. It looks really, really good from what I've seen so far, and it seems like the demo runs really well as well.
We haven't been disappointed yet with the demos of these yet.
No, they've all been like very good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try it. Papers, Please got an update. They transitioned the underlying engine from Hax's OpenFL to Haxa Unity. I guess, we talked about previously on a previous podcast, they already ported the game to mobile. And if you don't know, like one of the most popular platforms for mobile is running the game in Unity. So it probably just made a lot of sense to have the game, run better on modern systems and be more future-proof, to just move the base game over to Unity as well. And apparently they fixed a couple of bugs, and they added some extra localizations for Korean, Turkish, and Czech. So that's cool to see.
Yeah, that's good to see.
Atomic Heart got patched. We talked about this when a previous podcast. It launched without FOV settings and had...
There was no FOV slider?
No, even worse. There was forced mouse acceleration on that you couldn't turn off without like going into game files.
It sounds like Toe Biscuit's hell.
So FOV settings have been added. The mouse acceleration default has been disabled. I don't know if that's like a Eastern European thing where lots of Eastern European games have mouse acceleration on, whereas more in Western Europe, you don't really use mouse acceleration.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what game it was. This was like maybe even like 10 years ago at this point. But I saw like some developer was surprised that people got annoyed with it because I guess they just always had it on.
Yeah.
So interesting.
FOV settings, bug fixes, optimizations, and ultra wide screen fixes for FOV and stuff like that. Next up we have Ghostwire Tokyo just came out with a brand new update. This is launching next month, April 12th. They're adding new areas, new missions, new powers, new collectibles, new enemies, and even a new roguelite mode, which is pretty cool to see. I just want to point out this is Tango again, the people who just released Hi-Fi Rush this year. They're kind of going crazy right now. And I was talking about previously how they are like the they're trying to be like the Steam World devs, where every single game they make is just completely different from the previous game they made. But really cool to see this. I think Ghostwire Tokyo looks really cool. I
think thematically and setting,
thematic and setting, the fact that it's kind of like an FPS game, I think is really cool. It's just, I don't know.
I think there's not enough to the.
From what I was saying, someone was like, "Yeah, it's really cool if you like it's sort of like the Far Cry games. It's like a big open world where you can just go and collect things." And I'm just like, that makes me want to play it less. Like, I hate the Far Cry games most of the time. Like, they're just big Ubisoft open worlds that is big, but there's not much to do in them.
But 3 is good. 3 is a good one.
Yeah, from what I've played, I mean, I hate Far Cry 2. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's just hardcore for no.
Malaria Simulator.
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of like having thirst and like hunger mechanics, but it doesn't add anything to the game. But worse.
I do want to give this game a try.
Yeah.
Try it someday. I mean,
does it have a demo?
Is this thing that Xbox has called Games Pass that you can use as demo?
If you got a Games Pass, that's great. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if I get Games Pass at some point, and I'll definitely give this a try.
Yeah.
I would definitely get Games Pass if it gets implemented into Steam. That would be a no-brainer.
Yep.
Because fuck the Ubisoft... fuck the Ubisoft store for one, but fuck the Microsoft store for two.
Yep. Imagine having to install Minecraft launcher through those Microsoft
Steam news. The Steam sale starts tomorrow, so March 16th if you're watching this live. So yeah, the spring sale will be live. Anything that you're looking forward to purchasing in the sale, Tony?
No, nothing.
I feel like
I can't afford anything.
I was going to say, I feel like with me and you, our fucking Steam library has got so massive at this point. It's just like, another Steam sale, more games that I won't play but will purchase.
I've recently set up my favorites tab to be I never really used like the favorites category. And now I was trying to set it up to be like games I'm like going to play. So
Yeah.
I'm more looking. I'm not actually. I don't really look at the store anymore. Like I'm looking at my own library now. So there are stuff like there are like big stuff that come out, like for example Resident Evil 4 remake and stuff. But
I was hoping the Halo Infinite campaign DLC was going to go cheaper. It keeps going like 50% off, and I was really hoping it would be like 75% off, because then it would be like it's £25 at the moment. It's normally £50, so 75% 50 would be what?
it should be like £13.
Yeah, which I think is a reasonable. I would snap up the
Yeah.
Halo Infinite campaign for that much.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to play that for a while.
Because I mean, I still need to play through the original Halo.
You start. That's something that's meant. You started playing Halo Master Chief Collection.
I've completed Halo 1.
Oh, you did the more. Did you drive?
I drove a little bit.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of Halo 1, but the more is one of the best levels in Halo history. It is so sick. Okay. And it is only like surpassed in the ending of Halo 3, which is fucking sick as well. Okay. But yeah. What did you think of Halo 1?
I think we have very different perspectives on Halo though.
The thing is,
I'm not an FPS fan, is what I was going to say.
Well, I was just going to say, you've only played Halo 1 so far, so it's your only point of reference.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, there's stuff like you and Andy, Halo Andy, really hated. I don't have a problem with, which I find interesting. Right. The fucking library, the library one is shit.
But... Everyone hate the popcorn flood that keep blowing you up.
I don't have a problem with the flood. I like the flood. It's just the level design I do not like. I really like the mechanic of the popcorn like reanimation stuff. I actually that works really well.
You're in for a treat, because ahead of you have Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo ODST. You got some good shit coming up, and then don't play Halo 4. So you've got some real good shit coming up.
Yeah. I am generally Reach is going to be at the end. I'm actually looking forward to Reach to some extent.
Reach is one of my favorite Halo games. I think it is phenomenally. I think it is super underrated.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll see, because I'm not a first-person shooter player. I don't get much out of the mechanics like I think that you and Andy do.
Reach is like a phenomenal like set pieces and how it looks. There's so many interesting, like there's an entire level in Reach just based in like this cloud-filled skyscrapers, and you just fly from skyscraper to skyscraper fighting like alien enemies, and it's fantastic. I've seen that, and that's really cool. It's amazing.
Yeah. We'll see, because I feel like some of the levels like kind of add to like the whole FPSing, and like I don't really care about that. I care about like the more the more story-based stuff where like you're doing something very specific, but like it's in like it's more contextual with the story. I prefer that sort of stuff because that's what I care about.
You write down Halo Tangerine.
I will talk about it for sure.
Oh, you're gonna do a Tangerine on Halo?
Yeah, but we've done. Wait, did we do?
I think we've done most of the Halo game. I've Tangerine like almost all the Halo games, I think.
Yeah, I swear we even got Andy in it. Apart from one of them.
I think for the Halo one, we recorded it all, and then like halfway through or something, the recording stopped, and we had to do it again.
Yeah.
And I was losing it because we recorded so much.
But we're talking about Lasso, I think. Like you put a lot of recording on from Lasso attempts.
Oh yeah, I've beat Halo Reach on Lasso. What difficulty did you play Halo?
Oh, just normal.
Okay, fair enough.
It's funny because Andy was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to play. You have to play these another 2 more times." Like, Andy, I'm not playing this again. I'm not playing it Lasso.
On a higher difficulty. I mean, generally,
I don't care.
I mean, generally, if you're like a FPS fan, I would say Heroic's probably. So 343. Not 343. Bungie called Heroic the way it's meant to be played is Heroic.
Yeah.
It's like the recommended.
4-1, I didn't give a shit what difficult. I didn't want to play easy, obviously, so I just like I'll just go normal. I think for 2 though, I might like actually like play by myself and see which difficulty is the least annoying for me, but like feels right with the balance. I think that's gonna be more important from here on out. I'm hoping I'm not shit. I'm not too shit, but heroic is like too annoying for me, but we'll see. I'll try heroic.
Yeah, I think it is like. I mean, I mean, Halo 2. If you came to me and you said, I'm gonna play this on normal, I'd go understandable. Halo 2 is a fucking hard game.
Yeah.
But like Halo 3, like Reach is a pretty like it's not a very like hard game overall.
What I'm concerned with though is like I'm because I'm not an FPS player. Like I don't think in the way that I think you think, or like that you expect from both the maps and like enemy placements and things, and like enemy loadouts. And I die
But you understand
a
the
lot
noob. You
more.
understand the noob combo though.
No,
Has Andy not explained this to you?
no, I think I know it, but I just I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how you can ever even like plan to do that when the ammo is so scarce, even on normal.
I mean, the noob combo is a lot of enemies have shields. So what you
Yeah.
do is you take
You charge up.
like an assault rifle,
Yeah.
and then you just blast their shields off with the assault rifle, and then you switch to a headshot weapon like
Oh,
a
yeah.
pistol or a battle rifle, and then you shoot.
100%. But I just feel like I never have time to think about that or do that or even be prepared for that because the ammo is already gone. Like from the rest of the level, like
You would not like Lasso.
I just pick up whatever's there.
There's a skull called the Famine Skull, which reduces the amount of ammo you get.
That just sounds like AIDS. I don't know why you would play with that. Like I don't find difficulty fun.
I mean,
just for the sake of it.
Lasso Reach, when we played it at the time, it was sort of like CBT, cock and ball torture, but for any cognitive behavior therapy fans out there. But after completing it, man, I had fond memories of Lasso. I mean, we tried Halo 3 Lasso, and I don't think we could get past like the first level after like hours of trying. So
right.
I think we may have eventually got past the first level of it was like we played like a Lasso level a day when we were doing Lasso sort of thing.
Yeah. I just don't get much out like overcoming that sort of challenge. If I don't find the challenge fun to begin with, I just don't care. I assume you found like the original challenge fun to begin with. So
yeah.
Again, I'm not an FPS player.
Generally, I like challenging things. Like I'm a big fan of Cuphead. It's like a game. Yeah. Doom Eternal was very hard. Like especially the DLC is very hard. But I fucking love Doom Eternal.
I will say I'm not playing Doom Eternal or even Doom 2016. But I want to say like I feel like to me that seems more. The premise seems more entertaining to me, like trying to play those in harder difficulties, opposed to like Halo. But again, I haven't done it properly. I haven't like tuned myself. I haven't seen like how I feel about the balance.
Well, I think like those games almost designed to be like games to try and push yourself. Like the Doom Eternal devs were literally like, you should try and find the difficulty you think you're at with Doom Eternal, and then put yourself on the higher difficulty so you can strive to be better at the game and improve.
Yeah, that's fine. My only response is, did they make it fucking annoying? Because if it's annoying, I'm not going to try. I don't care how better it is. If you,
aside,
for example, lowering the amount of ammo I have, I just do not find appealing at all. Like I'm not going to do that.
Aside from the Ancient Gods Part 1 DLC for Doom Eternal, pre-nerf, that I played through and beat pre-nerf, and after the nerf they said that was unfair, we shouldn't have done that.
Can you even play pre-nerf at this point?
No, because they've patched it now. I mean, like, someone could mod it, I guess, but every time I died in Doom Eternal, I was happy to go again because I died because of my mistakes and not because the game did some bullshit.
Yeah. That again, I think from what I've seen of Doom, like I don't mind dying as long as I can like see my as long as I can improve or I can see like I will try something else or I'm having fun while attempting this.
Steam Next Fest in spring. Did you play any demos for Steam Next Fest? We haven't done a tangerine on this yet, but I did play a bunch of demos myself. Did you play anything?
I think in the end I didn't, but I swear I was meant to. I can't remember now.
I don't remember.
No, let's just go with no.
But Steam took a bunch of data for the Steam Springfest, and it made a list of the most played and the most wishlisted games. Let's go to most played first.
Okay.
So Dark and Darker was the most played again. Dark and Darker is best way to describe it is medieval wizard escape from Tarkov, essentially. You get,
Yes.
and I actually thought this actually looked pretty interesting. Like, I'm not interested in Escape from Tarkov at all, but actually the idea of like a medieval fantasy version of that was actually pretty interesting to me. Actually looked pretty fun. I think I
That's
downloaded to
interesting.
play it when they did the first beta test in like December last year, and I ran out of time and I couldn't play. It was like right before I was going on a flight, so I couldn't play it. And then I installed it this Steam first, and I was like, I will play it. It looks really interesting. And then I didn't play it.
Yeah, I 100% downloaded tons of demos, I think, and never did anything with them.
Void
Unfortunately.
Train, I played Void Train. That was pretty fun. It's essentially like Raft in the Void sort of thing.
Can I just? I know it's like slightly further down, but I'm surprised that Fabledom and Plan B Terraform, like two city buildings, was. And there's another one like Infection V was technically a
Boundary.
city builder.
This is an FPS shooter in outer space with multiplayer. What the fuck? I didn't play this. This is interesting. Heroes Adventure, martial arts, pixel adventure, Wandering Sword.
It is interesting how
Rainbound.
many city buildery things are here. Like, I didn't expect
Darkest
that.
Dungeon 2, that's one I would expect to be very popular.
Yeah.
And be Terraform. My Dream Setup. This is another, I was talking about simulating doing work games. Meet Your Maker, which was like the base building like raid thing from the developers of Dead by Daylight.
Do you think hang on quickly, is My Dream
and
Setup a
System.
Michael game?
Maybe. System Shock, again, one of the best demos of the fest. Really fucking awesome. Highly recommend System Shock demo. I think you can still play it now, which is awesome. But then most wishlisted, so it seems like got a slight difference in wishlisted. It seems very similar games. Dark and Darker, Void Train, Darkest
different
Dungeon
order.
2. I mean, the most played ones, some of the ones that were played more are slightly further down the wish list. It's like people just wishlisted Darkest Dungeon 2, just based on the name, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Because it is based on the most wishlisted game during the event. So I guess people saw, oh, Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out, I'll put that on my wish list, but maybe not everybody actually sat down and played the demo during that
maybe
time.
they prioritize other stuff they didn't know first.
I think the only one that snuck into the wishlist one was Shadows of Doubt, which I didn't play, but I was kind of interested to play. Apparently, it's like an immersive sim sandbox detective stealth game set in a fully simulated sci-fi noir city. And I think there's some sort of the procedural generation in this. Yeah, there's procedural generation as well.
Procedural noir
A procedurally generated like noir detective stealth immersive sim. And I was like, that sounds fucking weird. I kind of want to try that, but I didn't get around to it in the end. I mean, the demo is still out, so maybe we'll do a spotlight on it. I mean, it looks pretty interesting. But it's cool to see like some of the stats from the demo first to see what people were playing and what people wanted to wishlist and eventually play. Seems very similar to what people were playing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's kind of good though, right?
A lot of the games,
the
big ones for me were Dark and Darker, Void Train, and System Shock were ones I played. But there was a lot of games that I played for the Next Fest that I thought were really cool that weren't here. So interesting to see what other people play.
I think it's really cool, like how it's not like super diverse, but it's kind of diverse. Like it's not like the AAA publishers would lead you to believe what people want to wishlist and buy it, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot more diverse than I think I was expecting.
Next up, we have Steam Deck update. I was talking about this earlier, but this is the graphics driver has been updated to Mesa 23.1, which one of the big things was ray tracing is now available in Doom Eternal for the Steam Deck. That's right, you can play Doom Eternal with ray trace reflections at 30 FPS on the Steam Deck, which is absolutely fucking nuts. It is I think it's the first ray trace game on the Steam Deck, like officially supported. That is crazy, bro. This is more so a case of Doom Eternal is fucking insanely optimized than the that the Steam Deck is capable of playing ray trace games.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, if proper desktop can get like over 200 FPS, like I'm not too surprised you can get around 40 FPS with ray tracing, I suppose, or is it
30
30?
FPS. I would say it's a 30 FPS lock. Whereas on the deck you could easily get like a 60 FPS lock without ray tracing. And
yeah. So
and I would say I was thinking about installing Doom Eternal on my Steam Deck because it's such a high rated game, especially just for testing out gyro controls and the like. But
yeah.
I didn't download it because it is 70 gigabytes and I want space to be able to download other stuff. Maybe I'll just throw it on my micro SD. Micro SD card update, Tony, for you. I have been using my micro SD card almost primarily only for emulated games, and then using the SD card for the SSD for Steam games that actually massively benefit from the performance of the SSD. And I have a terabyte SD card in there, and I've filled up half of it with emulated games.
Interesting.
Some of the emulate games start to get bigger and bigger as the generations go along. Like Super Mario, Mario 64 is like 5 megabytes. Game Boy games are like a couple of kilobytes. Once you start getting, up to like that Wii U tier of games, that's when it's like, oh, this is like 10 plus gigabytes of a game.
You didn't have to download every single Wii U
I didn't have to download the entire Nintendo catalog, no. But if any lawyers are watching, I definitely didn't.
No, you're just playing it on your Switch. 100%.
Yes, I'm playing it on my Switch. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so some of the other stuff that I thought was really interesting. They fixed a graphical corruption issue with Wulong Fallen Dynasty, which is a game that just came out. Fixed a focus issue with Forza Horizon 5. And they even fixed a graphical corruption in the Resident Evil 4 demo? So is that to say maybe the Resident Evil 4 full release, which is coming out soon, I believe, will be Steam Deck verified? We'll have to wait and see.
Question mark. Well, if the demo runs, surely. I mean, it's not guaranteed. I admit, but like, is that not a good indication?
I mean, I think you can run Resident Evil 2 and 3 with the DirectX 11 versions, which was something we were talking about, right? I think we're talking about this off stream where I was talking about how Witcher 3 got another update for its DirectX 12 version, and a lot of the time it's just better to run the DirectX 11 version if you can't. If you're just going to run without ray tracing, whereas with the Resident Evil 2 and 3 ports, I think DirectX 11 branch is going to be the way to go on Steam Deck. I don't know if this will just be DirectX 12 or there will be a DirectX 11 version or not, or how they're doing this. I'll have to test out the demo for myself. Let's have a look. System requirements, DirectX version 12. So it seems like this is based on DirectX 12. So how well this will run on the Steam Deck, I do not know. I can check ProtonDB and see if people have posted stuff about it there. But I know people are saying it runs really good on PC, but it might be hard to get to run on your Dick. Let me look it up. I found Resident Evil 4. Okay, it's Resident Evil 4. These are written in. Is this simplified Chinese? What is this?
Japanese?
The Steam Deck ones are written in not my native language. I think it's Chinese. Let me try and translate this. How do you translate? Is it the button up here? Wait, something.
You can just right-click the page and translate.
Translate to English. So it seems like people are running it with Proton Experimental. The default special effects is at low as 30 frames, and the full low special effect plus FSR is only about 53 frames. It seems like at the moment, It has some heavy artifact issues, minor artifacts and missing textures. I think this is pre this update, so they fixed the graphical corruption now. But I think realistically, this is probably going to be a 30 FPS on the Steam Deck. If it is, going to be running on the Steam Deck, you might be able to push it up to a 40, get the golden 40 on the Steam Deck. But we'll have to wait and see when the full game. What the fuck is this photo you've sent me?
I don't know. I'm just searching Resident Evil 4 Steam Deck and I found this.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's terrifying.
Jesus Christ, right. Let's move on. Cool update. Oh, and Subnautica is now Steam Deck verified, so you can play Subnautica on your dick. I believe it is going to be like a 40 situation with medium settings. Given how like unoptimized Subnautica was on my gaming PC, that seems pretty good. I think they've gone back and they've updated the original Subnautica with some of the improvements they've made with Subnautica, what's it called? The Frozen one.
I'm gonna play Subnautica 2.
Subnautica Below Zero is the name of the. I think they went back and
I
think they went back and they optimized the original Subnautica, so it might be better now than when I played it a couple of years ago when it wasn't that great optimized. But yeah, I think 40 medium settings is going to be perfectly playable for the Steam Deck. Seems like a good use case scenario for it.
Oh yeah. I keep saying this every time we talk about the Steam Deck, but I'm so amazed like what sort of games are actually playable and runnable on the Steam Deck on the go. It's kind of crazy to me.
I mean, yeah. At this point, I would highly recommend it to most people with a Steam Deck library and basic PC knowledge.
Yeah. It's tinkering standard.
Blunders. Oh, Russian hackers have leaked the Stalker 2 game material and have threatened to release gigabytes more. A group of Russian hackers threatened to release a bunch of the game. Basically, they had a list of demands where they said on VK. So it was a group of Russian hackers going by the name Vestnik TSS on the Russian social media site VK. Got a list of demands for Stalker 2 developers, basically saying their demands were. The hackers demand that GCS Game World changes its attitude towards the players from Russia and Belarus and apologize for the unworthy attitude towards ordinary players from these countries, and demand also they specify they bring back the Russian localization to the game as well as unbanning the NF Star profile from the game's studio Discord channel. I don't know what that means, but like the NF Star profile from that's over my head. And they said basically, if you don't respond to these demands by March 15th, we will leak everything. And GCS released a statement to this. If you don't know, the Stalker developers are from Ukraine and are currently fighting a war. Basically said, look, we're a Ukrainian company. We have experienced much more terrifying things like destroyed houses, ruined lives, and deaths of our loved ones. Basically, like... We will not give in to blackmail. We will continue to put hard work into the game. And, if you see information online that says it has leaked stuff from it, please don't look at it. Just stay patient and wait for the full game to be released, and eventually you will be able to play the full game. Which I think is the best way to go about it. Don't give in to blackmail and just say, hey, if you don't want the game spoiled, just stay away from, spoiler stuff. Unfortunately, it's something that's going to happen, but we will not negotiate with these hackers, basically.
Yeah, I think it's the only thing you can really do. Like, you can't... Like, how do you know they're not going to do anything anyway? Like, there's nothing you can do, so...
The Outer Worlds new version is getting slammed on Steam. The Space's Choice Edition now with 200% more performance issues. It seems like, again, as we were preloading before with the Resident Evil DirectX 12, DirectX 11 version... they ported the Outer Worlds to like a newer version of the Unreal Engine. I think they went DirectX 12 or something like that. They added like some sort of better lighting. I don't know if it was ray tracing. They definitely added some better like lighting quality stuff. And essentially, it runs like absolute ass now, and it's very buggy.
And it didn't run well before.
It ran
ran okay before, I would say.
It ran okay. Like I had a couple of bugs when I was playing
Yeah.
it.
I will say, I feel like to me, I felt like it was demanding a lot for sometimes not very much shown.
Yeah.
So I would say it ran okay.
Why can't I go to the Outer Worlds Steam page? It's not working for some. Anyway, what was I gonna say? So this was released by. So if you don't know, Outer Worlds 1, developed by Obsidian, published by Private Division. Private Division owns the IP rights to the Outer Worlds 1. The Outer Worlds 2 is being made under Bethesda Microsoft. They own the rights to that. It seems like Obsidian's hard working on the Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, potentially a new, potentially could be working on like a fucking New Vegas remaster or something like that. There's tons of shit Obsidian's working on. Right, they're making what's it called? Grounded. They're still developing Grounded. They just released Pentiment. Obsidian's really fucking busy. It seems like Private Division essentially went, let's update the Unity engine version, which adds better lighting to the game, and re-release this with, as a £5 upgrade in order to make a little bit of money before we lose, like, the IP rights to the Outer Worlds. Everyone wants to play the Outer Worlds 2 when that comes out. Let's try and make some more money of this. This led to Obsidian apologizing for the performance of the Outer Worlds Space's Choice Edition and says Private Division is working on a patch for the game as soon as possible. If you know anything about the Spacer's Choice brand, I mean, the Spacer's Choice jingle in the Outer Worlds is, it's not the best choice, it's Spacer's Choice. So, yeah, this really is, I don't know if it was intentional, but this really is the Spacer's Choice edition of the Outer Worlds.
It was in the name the whole time.
Yeah, but they essentially said, like, Obsidian, when asked about this, they would say, because obviously they made the first game, they want it to look as good as possible, so it's bad for them when, Private Vision pushes out this patch and makes the game worse for a lot of people. They essentially just say, like, I assure you the team at Private Division is working on a patch, and then they link to the Private Division support page to basically. I feel like that's as much as you can say is like, hey, this wasn't us. We didn't fuck this game up. We released it in a playable state. Like, we're busy working on other shit, basically. Which I think, shouldn't be up to Obsidian to apologize for this sort of shit, but that's the way, like, IP rights and shit go these days, so. Let's see. Let's move on to VR news. Tony, do you remember the Quest 2 getting a price increase of £100/$dollars?
Oh yeah, it was. Yep, definitely the right call.
What if I told you the Quest Pro and the 256GB Quest are getting price cuts?
How much? $100?
Okay, so they raised the 256GB model's price, but in July 2022, last year, to £500, right?
What was it before?
Which was $100 increase. So
okay.
I'm saying pound dollar because they're interchangeable at this point. They're exactly the same in terms of prices for these Oculus headsets. So it was £400. It got increased to £500, and now they're lowering the price by £70 to £430.
So still an increase.
Yes, by £30.
Interesting.
But the Meta Pro is being decreased from 1.5k to £1,000 flat.
Is it? I feel like it's too. I don't know. It still feels expensive to me.
I still feel like there's no reason to buy a Meta Quest Pro.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for like a Valve's next headset, or yeah, the Quest.
Or my Joker. Was it last week where I said the PSVR 2 on PC? It'd be good.
No, honestly, I'm waiting for Valve's next headset or the Quest 3. The Quest 3 is what's going to interest me, like an actual, a properly, mainstream priced VR headset with interesting features. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. With next gen visuals.
Because I'm still running HTC Vive from 2016, and so far I haven't had a reason to upgrade it yet. So that's what I'm waiting for. And no, the Meta Pro is not making me want to upgrade my headset.
No. There's some cool stuff in it, but yeah.
Let's move on to business news. Lince Works, the origami developers, will effectively stop the development of new products indefinitely starting this April. It seems like they are shutting down development. They basically said they've been working on this stuff over the past 9 years, and with the economic changes and stuff like that, they've just basically run out of money and time to develop these games.
So
they basically said Origami 1 and 2 will be available on all platforms and storefronts, and the online co-op will be accessible. But basically, they are closing the doors on their development, which is a shame to see because I think I own Origami. I bought it because it's such an interesting game, but I just have not got a chance to play it yet. But I think, and somebody was saying, well, Origami was one of the games that was big because it had co-op stealth, and I was like, Origami had stealth, or Origami 2 had stealth? I didn't even know that. That's kind of insane. But yeah, maybe the fact I didn't even know the game had co-op is maybe one of the reasons, not a lot of people purchased the game, didn't get as many people to buy the game as they would have liked. It's a shame when a game studio has to shut down, especially when it's, a game I personally, had interested in playing and thought the games looked pretty cool, so let's move on.
Yeah. So
pending approval at the next annual shareholders meeting, Yosuke Matsuda will no longer be president of Square Enix. He will be succeeded by Takashi Kiryu. Okay, so if you don't know, Yosuke Matsuda is the big, president who was pushing NFTs and that sort of shit. So hopefully, some of this stuff might change, but don't hold on to hope yet too much yet, because as someone has pointed out, Takashi Kiryu's previous job was working for a company called Metaverse Productions for about 8 years. So I doubt someone like that is going to, do a hard U-turn on all the metaverse NFT sort of stuff. So we'll have to wait.
Especially after the interpretation from the next story.
Yeah, well, Square Enix says Forspoken sales have been lackluster and many small and mid-sized titles did not perform as well as we had expected.
Can I just quickly point out, they say this about every fucking game they make, I swear.
Even when it's successful, like they say this about... Okay, Marvel Avengers was a flop, but that's because it was a live service shit nobody wanted. They said this about Guardians of the Galaxy, which was very successful critically.
They said it about every Tomb Raider game.
Yeah. Apparently,
how can you say that?
Quote from Square Enix: "We have organised our pipeline so that we will have a good spread of new releases in FY 2025 and 3 and beyond as well. We will also hope that you will look forward to the blockchain games we have planned to launch in 2024 and 3 and thereafter." So, they're still going to release those blockchain games, and the new president worked at a metaverse company for 8 years, so I don't know if Square Enix is going to be U-turning on the crypto metaverse bullshit they've been doing recently, like the NFT shit, so I don't know.
What I'm going to say is Diamond Hands was wrong. More like Coal Hands.
Korean police have actually raided the Dark and Darker offices in South Korea. Apparently, Iron Mace, following Nexon allegations of stolen code, assets, and staff.
Stolen stuff.
Yeah, I found the idea. They've taken hostages. Guys,
we own them.
They've got Nexon devs hostages in the Dark and Darker offices. Obviously, this is referencing like poaching laws, non-compete contracts and clauses of and stuff like that. But from what I've read, essentially they raided the office looking for like stolen code, and then they came out and were like, "Oh, we didn't find anything." So
Good job.
I don't know. I know there was reports that Darker Darker was using stolen code. How true it is, I don't know. I mean, we just talked about earlier. Dark and Darker is super popular, thanks to the beta they put out during Next Fest, and I know it was super popular on Twitch as well. It was one of the most watched games on Twitch. So people want to play this sort of game.
I don't know, what is Nexon's like? Why do they think there's stolen code?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Nexon had claimed Iron Mouse's medieval MMO Dark and Darker had striking similarities with the concept for P3 in major gameplay, rules, and arts, which could not have been made independently. Nexon reported Leader A in August 2021 for leaking company data and assets while working remotely during the pandemic. The police turned the case to the Suwon District Prosecutor's Office in August 2022, which demanded the police find more evidence in December.
I know this probably isn't what happened, but I still like to believe they had to like ram the doors of the office to raid it.
We're going in.
FBI, open up!
Yeah,
what happened probably was like, here's a warrant, you have to let us in. When like people in suits and glasses walked and like copied code and looked over it. It's probably all that happened. But
and then our last piece of business, the ZAUM has resolved their legal dispute with the Disco Elysium producer Carl Kender. I was like, I'll talk about this later when I understand more about it. And I have read this, and I still am so confused by all the legal investment and scams that are going on. But I will read a timeline of events that have happened, and then hopefully we can come with another update when more has been resolved. So Magnus Linnamy, Zom's largest shareholder, sold the majority of the studio to Ilmar Compass for 4.5 million euros, and Compass subsequently became the CEO. Compass pays Linneman by selling a short story to Zom for 4.5 million, which he then used to pay for the studio, in essence robbing the studio to pay for his ownership stake. Arkanda, relatedly Estonian novelist and businessman who also invested in Zom, was the producer of Disco Elysium, sues Compass and Zom for the scheme. He eventually claims he was defrauded for 1 million. Around the same time, Robert Kurvitz, Helen Hintpere, and Alexander Rostov, these are the people we're interested in, who created the game, are fired from Zom. They file their own lawsuits. Kurvitz and Rostov also allege that Kender was also involved in the scheme himself to some extent, although perhaps this went sour. The Estonian government starts asking questions because Disco Elysium is a famous cultural export, and there are reports that could be a UK fraud investigation because Zom is a UK registered company. Compass refunds Zom, which he now controls, 4.5 million euros for the short story. The money Compass used to repay the studio seems to come from a shady and allegedly criminal businessman Tonis Havel. Havel's business partner is the director of Zom UK, which owns the IP for Disco Elysium, and it's suggested he is behind the whole scheme. Basically, Compass technically replays Zom because he and Havel are able to maintain total control of the studio. It's alleged that Havel is using Compass as a proxy between Havel's remains 12 million euros in debt to the victims of a 2007 fraud. Kender drops his lawsuit and sells his remaining shares in the studio now that they've returned to their post-scheme value. And post this official apology, Kurvitz and Rostov remain fired, and their legal action in this case is still pending. They do, however, drop their wrongful dismissal suits. Both Kurvitz and Rostov are technically still stakeholders in Zom.
My understanding
what is going on with the original creators of Disco Elysium? I have no fucking idea at this point.
It's really confusing. My understanding is once you've got people investigating for fraud, it's unlikely to stop unless they find no evidence for it.
Yeah.
And surely as well, if they do find fraud, then that would also include the transfer of ownership shares would be not reversed, but heavily scrutinized.
I feel like at this point, we're just going to hope to see a spiritual successor from Kurvitz and Rostov from whatever studio they end up at or creating or whatever they decide to do. I don't know if it'll go back to, making another Disco Elysium IP game. So we'll
I don't know what their
see.
plan ever was, but I kind of got the feeling they weren't going to make another like Disco Elysium named game. They'll just make a different game with a different name.
Go the Steam
what I
World.
would have assumed.
You know what, guys? Go the Steam World Tango approach. Make a boomer shooter. I want next game,
Yeah.
boomer shooter. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, there it is.
Anyway, let's end the podcast. It was a light news podcast, but I filled it full of talk. So we've actually gone quite a while. But let's read the Petermology tweet for this week. Imagine if every book is converted into a video game and made 10 times more engaging. AI will do this. Huge opportunity here to disrupt Kindle and Audible. Here we go, guys. Guys, why would you read a fucking book when you can just have an AI turn the book into a game?
Can you read the two the someone's response and then the reply that Petermology made?
What's the format genre mechanics then? Petermology replies, easy. The AI will find the best fit based on the repetitive words. For example, if the word drive or car appears over 100 times, it will be a racing game. And then the response was, that sounds about right.
Oh my god. Just be clear though, what happens if you're driving a tank? Like, what if it's a war story?
It will be a war game.
A war racing game.
And if you take the book, The Dark Tower, it will be a dark genre game.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
With the dark mechanics.
Am I right? The Dark Tower is a book. There's a film called The Dark Tower that's based on a book, but I don't know if the book is called The Dark Tower.
Yeah, but there's gonna be lots of words with the word dark in it, so it has to be the dark genre.
Oh yeah, the Dark Tower is a book by a man called Stephen King.
I think I remember that guy. He did Spooky Clown.
Guys, I can tell you now, the Dark Tower game is going to be dark. It's going to be the dark genre. You can check us out, the And Everything In Between podcast. If you go youtube.com/everythinginbetween podcast on YouTube, you'll be able to find us there. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live. And @Scorn2000 if you want to follow me on Twitter for some reason. Oh, if you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast, shows.cast.com/everythinginbetween podcast. If you click on the episode you want to watch, there will be links to the Apple Podcast version and the Spotify version. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.